Welcome back to Fit Focus Media, the show where we put the focus on fitness. Now today we are joined by Connor Dunne. Who's Connor Dunne, you might ask though?
Balancing the whole prep was quite difficult. I'd be up around either between 4:30 and 5:30ish. I'd start work about 6:30 and then work all day in the sun, go to gym, and I wouldn't get home till about, 8:30 maybe, and then cook my meals for the next day.
Raise up a hand or a lighter, murderous phrases I'm hyper, making my way through the night just, if you're in a block or a whip just.
Obviously goals are big, goals should be scary for me. I think for everyone goals should be scary, so my biggest goal would be to be the best classic physique natural athlete in the world or in Australia. I don't know how realistic that is, but I'm going to try my hardest to get as close as I can to that.
Well, he's a person just like you and me. But Connor, can you do me a little bit of a favour for the people at home who might not know? Who are you?
So my name's Connor. I have been training for about 6 or 7 years, and I just competed in season A ICN.
Jesus, 6 or 7 years. That's oddly enough like pretty similar to myself. So
Yeah.
what got you into that?
Well, I played high level football.
Oh, we've got an athlete with us. Okay. So football is in rugby or football is in AFL or?
Football is in soccer.
Jesus. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. He's one of these guys.
I'm one of them.
All right.
Yeah.
What is it with everyone who seems to come on this show being a high level soccer player and then referring to it as football?
Well, my parents are Irish, so
okay.
that's where I get it from.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was saying now, it literally just clued onto the fact that you're wearing a shirt that says football. God damn it. So, how even getting into that, was it just, like parents were interested in the sport, or how did you go about getting into that?
So I did other stuff before football. So I did gymnastics. I did that for about 2 years when I was quite young, but my sister dropped out, so I followed. Didn't do that. And then I went to football because she played football. So I played at a local club near me in a Christian league. And I played there for about 4 years.
How did you find actually doing gymnastics, or were sort of too young to remember? Because that's always a sport that every time I hear someone say that they did that, I'm like, God damn, that has to be the craziest, most intense thing you could be doing.
Because I was quite young, so I didn't actually get to do the difficult stuff. But my coach was actually in the Olympics.
Damn.
So he was, at the time, he was built. I thought he was a Greek god. He was, sculpted, very strong,
Yeah, and then so transitioning into football itself, was that more of, I guess, the influence from the parents because that was a sport you grew up watching, or was that just something that, are they not even into that and you just happened to go, this is the sport that I want to play?
Well, Mum's not really into it. Dad was into football when he was younger.
Yep.
But then, I guess as we grew up, I sort of stayed away from rugby and all that and went more towards soccer.
Yeah, nice.
And
what was that journey like going up to high level?
It was difficult. At the end, it got all too much for me. We were training, 3 days a week, and then we had theory sessions. And
Damn. I was going to ask, what is that training schedule actually like to get to that point? What sort of stuff are you doing? And,
so we had probably training sessions 3 days a week, and then in that they would sort of go through the last game and stuff that we got to stuff that we got to work on for the next game, and then game either on the Friday, Saturday, or Sunday.
Damn. And what position were you?
Well, I started off as a striker, but then in my later years I went to a right back.
See, I say that as if I know the first thing about soccer, when I really do not. My knowledge of soccer is, football. Is playing FIFA 09 on the Wii with one of my mates growing up. That's about as far as my knowledge extends on the sport. So forgive me for that one, but striker, kicking the goals, I'm assuming with that one. And then what was the other one, sorry?
Right back. So
defending the
goals.
Fuck yeah, we're on a roll here, boys. Mate,
Thank FIFA 09 for that.
100% right there. I was just every single time just playing as Manchester United and just fucking running gun for the goal.
So was I.
100%.
Yeah.
And then they just kind of fell off the
face
of the earth.
Yeah.
And then I ended up living in Manchester. And that was interesting because they're batshit crazy when it comes to the football.
Oh, they are. English people are. The English Premier League is crazy. The fans are.
I'm actually so glad when I moved over to the UK. I left the only piece of football clothing that I had in Australia Not that I supported them in any way at all. It was just I happened to be given it at some point. But I had an Arsenal jacket. I was just like,
thank God you left that at home.
I would have been mugged in the street and beaten to within an inch of my life just for walking down the road, especially on like a Friday or Saturday night. It's like,
they're crazy.
Yeah,
they are mental.
What's it like? Like, what's the soccer scene like in Australia?
In I don't know, that the A League is quite big. I think the fans that do go, they absolutely love it. But I don't think it's as big as obviously England and Europe and stuff like that. Even America is getting quite big.
Even when it comes to, I guess, playing and competing, because I know that, say, over in the UK, because I still have a lot of friends who live over there, and I guess it is really a dream for a lot of younger people to sort of go and become professional and go into the pro leagues with that. Is there a similar sort of progression available in the Australian ranks, or is it like what is that end goal? Is it to try and get drafted for an overseas team, or is it to try and perform in like a high level in Australia? Or
I think that's everyone's goal, is to go over to Europe and either play in the EPL or the La Liga or one of those sort of leagues, just to be like Ronaldo, be like Messi and all those big names. But I mean, like, when I was younger, my biggest thing was just to play for the Brisbane Roar.
Yeah.
And then
you just got to a point where you're like, you know what, fuck that, I'm just going to be Chris Bumstead instead.
Yeah. Pretty much. I joined the gym and found out that putting on muscle was more fun than kicking a ball around.
Yeah, that's a pretty fair analogy.
Yeah.
That's a pretty fair statement to make, in my humble opinion, of course. So what was it that got you out of playing football at the time?
It was the last season that I played, I didn't enjoy. It just got too much. I didn't like the whole idea of being forced. Not that I was forced to play it, but the whole idea you have to do this each week.
Yeah.
You have to be here for the 3 sessions. Otherwise, you're not going to play because you missed a session.
Yeah.
Like, school was sort of on the back end of everything. I was just focused on football, and it
really does become like a life commitment at that point.
Yeah.
It's just like you feel like you're being it's like you feel like you're getting punished, and it really becomes a job. And I know that for a lot of things, when something becomes a job, that's when the passion kind of just falls completely out of it. Luckily, so that was actually a massive fear when it came to like video work in particular. Was it's like, hey, I enjoy doing this, but if I actually try and go for this more, I guess, full time and as a job, is it going to sort of kill that passion for it? Because I don't know, I think there's just this association that we have with like work, that it isn't a fun, it isn't an enjoyable thing.
Yeah.
And I guess really that's probably, in a sense, a really good thing for yourself, because identifying that, hey, going more, I guess, in the work line of this makes it seem unfun, probably actually just signifies that isn't something that you would be able to do as a job long term and actually enjoy. Yeah,
I sort of realised I wasn't going to make professional, and sort of had to focus on school and stuff just to get a career. And gym was sort of just a pastime, a hobby that I loved. I went every day. I made some of the best mates I've ever made at gym. And we're still there. We're still mates with some of them. I wouldn't go to gym as such to go to gym. It would be all the boys are going to be there. I'm going to go chat to the boys. We're going to do a session. And I'd spend hours there. Hours.
100%. When I was in school, it was the exact same thing. Some of my best friends at the time were, from the gym. That's where I met them, really. That's where that, I guess, relationship kind of flourished and developed. And it was always like a weekend trip at the time, because, like I say, I was, like really young getting into it. So, I was underage, couldn't drive or anything like that. They had their license. So I was like, we'd all, get in the car on a Saturday morning, we'd drive, an hour and a half down to Pakenham to go to the Derrimut down there, which is, like one of the coolest gyms that I've ever been to. Still, it has like a really special place in my heart just because of the memories there. But we'd, go down there, you'd drop like 3 scoops of pre-workout, get a 3-hour leg session, and then you drive up to Fountain Gate and get, a burger from Grilled as like a cheat meal. Or
So it became like a hobby, or like a day event sort of thing. Yeah,
exactly. I don't know. Going to the gym, at least when I first got into it, was for the community aspect. Really, like, sure, I enjoyed picking up heavy things and putting them down. I love that aspect of it. But there was something about the people that I met through doing that, and just feeling like I was a part of something that was bigger and better than what I guess I'd ever experienced before.
Yeah.
Like growing up playing like Australian rules football, and it wasn't very good at the sport, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
And I guess I never really clicked with a lot of the people on my team in that way that I just clicked as soon as I stepped into the gym and started meeting people there. And I guess, yeah, like similar situation to yourself where you, I guess, how you said you sort of felt out of love with it in that last year. Opposite, actually, for me when it was with football. I was not very good the whole way through growing up. And then that last year I played was like when I lost all of my weight.
Yeah.
Where I had that massive change in my body composition and just general sports performance.
Yeah.
So it was like the first year where I actually went in there and made a bit of a sense. I was like, fuck this, I'm going to go after it and have a bit of fun. First game back, kicked the first goal I'd ever done, after playing for like 5-6 years at that point. And it was a really fun time. I think it was just the love wasn't really there. And like yourself, the gym was really just something that, I don't know, I just felt at home.
Yeah, and everyone, like all the people that I trained with, they all had the same goals. Just
swole.
Get big.
Get swole.
Yeah, get big.
Just get big.
Yeah.
So what were some of the stupid things you did when you first got into the gym to try and get big? Like whether that be like, just, I guess silly workouts that you thought were really good or exercises that you do and realistically looking back on it, that was probably not the smartest form or best thing to do, or massive like mass gainer shakes or stupid amounts of pre-workout. Or
I think it was mass gainer shakes. They were pretty big.
Yep.
Doing like 4-hour sessions. I'd beat an arm day and I'd be doing an hour of triceps, an hour of biceps, and then we'll throw some shoulders in there for fun.
Yep.
Not so much worried about form. So I think I did a 140 deadlift and I looked like a cat.
There is actually a video of me the first time I think I ever did like a 140 or something like that. Like there's some footage of me like doing squats and deadlifts like back when I was younger, and I look back and I'm like, God damn.
Yeah.
How, like, it's a good thing that my spine was like malleable.
Malleable
at the time and like still bending a little bit.
And when I first signed up, I had a coach or a PT who I only recently.
I guess you were an athlete after all.
Yeah. So I'd show him like a deadlift video and he'd be like, "Oh man, we got to run.
Work to do."
Yeah, we got heaps of work to do.
Nice.
Yeah.
Shit, there was something I was going to say. I just had a complete mental blank on it. God damn it. Don't you hate that when that
I hate
happens?
it.
There was something about stupid shit that I used to do going to the gym. I mean, I got into like the pre-workout phase really early as well.
I never got into the pre-workout. It was only till prep.
Yeah, and then you just went full fucking ham.
Yeah, and then I just took all the year's worth of pre-workout into the go.
Like, remind it. What was that caffeine intake you got up to when you were on prep?
I think the last probably 4 weeks was very difficult, and I think I got up to either.
Just like prefacing it. It's like, hey. It was a rough time, guys.
It was a very rough time.
You do some dark, stupid things when you're in a bad place.
I think we got up to 1,100 or 1,200 milligrams a day. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. I have quoted that to a few people. I'm like, hey, this guy, he was on prep, 1,200.
Yeah.
And they're like, what the fuck? And
yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck?
And I could still go to sleep at night.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Like, what do you even consume to accumulate 1,200 milligrams of caffeine a day?
I think I was having between 4 to 6 cups of coffee a day, black coffee. I took 3 fat burners, and then I took double scoop of pre-workout for gym. Yeah. And I remember sitting down, and it was me, my partner Jess, and Tom, my coach. And we were sitting down one day, and I go, I can't sleep at night. And he goes, well, what are you taking? So I told him, and I think I said I only took half a scoop of pre-workout and only 1 fat burner. And then my partner Jess goes, there's no point lying. You got to tell him what you actually do. So she goes, Tom looked at her and went, what does he take? So she went through and he went, I'll calculate that. And then, yeah.
What fat burner and pre-workout were you using?
Honestly, I don't even know. The pre-workout I was using was Phantom.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
So,
I haven't used it, but heard of it.
Quite good, quite tasty.
No idea what's actually in it.
Yeah. And then the fat burner, I don't know what fat burner it was.
You were just like, stimulants.
Yeah.
Just give it to me.
Yeah, but like because of work, it was hard to try not feel hungry because I do a labourer's job.
I was going to say, what do you actually do for work?
So I'm a Sparky, but I do mainly solar.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm on a roof all day, up and down ladders all day. Yeah.
My dad's a Sparky.
Yeah.
Not solar. So it's like, this does not really relate to that in any sense, but I guess like the extent of my trading work, back when I was younger, I did some work out at like Loyang Power Station as a PA for a while. So inside of the boilers, crawling around with those guys, which is a bit of fun with all the Sparkies and all that jazz. Thanks, Dad, for that one.
Good fun.
It was fantastic, to be honest. The money was great. The work was fairly easy. Just helping guys out. And it was really, good experience at the time. And then when I came back from living in the UK, there was a little stint where I was just helping out one of my mates who owns a roof tiling business with some of that. Just because I wanted to try out some new things, and that did not last.
Nah.
There's something crazy about the people who do like roof tiling, or just any job. To be honest, up and down on the ladder every day. I was like terrified. I got to a point where I was walking across beams feeling quite comfortable.
Yeah, that's quite difficult. I don't do that.
Yeah, but like when you're walking across beams, looking down, and you just see like concrete floor below you. And you've got like 5 slabs of tiles in your hands.
Yeah.
And like balancing is like.
And all the frame behind you to hit on the way down.
Yep. And then you're trying to like slip them into the right place. And then it's just
difficult. Yeah, it's difficult.
And then you crack one of them like as it's going in. You're like, fuck, now I've got to throw this out, go get another one and put it in. And you're trying not to haul yourself off the side of the building while you're also doing it.
The fun, the joys.
Great times. Hey, how's it going? Hope you're enjoying this episode so far. Just wanted to take a second and ask if you could please leave a review on this podcast. And if you hear something you think could help someone else, share it with a friend. Word of mouth is really the best way to help these things grow. So please, thank you, and enjoy the rest of the episode. How did you go about balancing the work schedule and the training schedule and the everything while actually in a prep?
It was balancing the whole prep with work was quite difficult just because I do big days. Well, at the time I was doing big days. So I'd be up around either between 4:30 and 5:30ish. I'd start work about 6:30 and then work all day in the sun, and then finish about 4ish and then go to gym. And I wouldn't get home till about 8:30 maybe, and then cook my meals for the next day.
Man,
but it meant I didn't have to do steps or cardio.
Yeah.
Because
still, that's brutal.
Oh, it was very hard.
Even just like you're double dropping pre.
Yeah.
4:00 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
To go and train.
Yeah.
And you're wondering why you can't sleep.
Yeah.
Man, I had to like put in a rule. It's like I'm not allowed like caffeine after like 3 is when I try and cut it off. Like, there are some times if I know that it's going to be like, say, a late editing session or something like that where I know I'm going to be up later, then sure. But if I want to try and get to bed at like a reasonable time whatsoever, it's like 3:00 hard cut off. So I can't do the like it's hard for me to do afternoon training sessions these days. Although actually I think that's probably just me being a little bit like some limiting beliefs on that one. Yeah. Because it's like, I don't know, at least for me this is probably why it'd be good to take a bit of a break from pre-workout. Yeah. It's like you get into that mental state where it's like you can't train if you don't have a pre.
Yeah, that's like me. So after prep I cut out caffeine. Not completely. Like I have about 2 or 3 coffees a day. But I don't take a stim pre. Mm-hmm. I take a stim-free pre. And I'm out of that at the moment. And I'm trying not to buy another one just so I can get my head around not training with a substance, even if it's just a pump or if it's a pre.
It just like throws off a little. And I'm not, and this is terrible that I'm doing this. Well, like it's good for the pumps and it's good for the focus, but it's like mixing like a stim free and a stim.
Yeah,
so you get the best of both worlds, really. Yeah. But it's really not good for trying to, I guess, break that mental addiction to it, because one, I'm burning through it double as fast, so it's like I could just spread it out and be like, okay, 1 day on, 1 day off, 1 day on, 1 day off. I only use a stim when it's like a lower body session and you really need it. But I don't know, there's just something about it. It's like,
and then if you don't have it, it's like it's a bad session because you don't have that skin tearing pump.
I even know that, say if I just take a stim free and then I go to the gym, I won't feel as good at the start. But as soon as I start warming up, then I'll feel better. And really, I think that I get it in my head that it's the pre-workout making me feel good. Well, maybe it's actually just the fact that I've got some endorphins running around. Exercise. Like maybe it's actually the caffeine that's making me feel drowsy because I'm just so freaking amped up on it. Yeah. But I'm not gonna lie. Even I don't think I've ever got to that kind of level.
It was
like in high school, I was real. I think I was worse than what I am now. Still, and I still feel like I'm doing a lot, but it's like I have 1 coffee in the morning, and then a pre at the moment.
Yeah.
And I know, even I still feel like that's like too much.
Yeah.
Now. Growing up, I mean, shit, the amount of times like my teachers would go off at me. Because you know like the Ninja like blenders and stuff, like the big, like blender cups.
Yeah.
Like the biggest one. Yeah, I'd take that in every single day. Coffee.
Of coffee.
Yeah. And like it wasn't super strong in my defense. Like I would water it out a fair bit.
Yeah.
I just wanted the volume.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the longer I can sip on it, the longer it's going to suppress my appetite. And, you know, me with my mental issues at the time towards food, it was just like, that's how I deal with this shit. Leave me alone. But still, there'd probably be like, I guess, 2 to 3 cups of coffee in that.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, at the time I was also using pre-workout as well and being like, you know, 15, 16, 17 is probably not the best idea to be doing that sort of combo. And there'd probably be like a morning coffee in there as well or an afternoon coffee in there as well. And I was also training predominantly on things like the original Total War.
Brutal.
Yeah. Yeah, so the original Total War and Kraken, both, well, Kraken was actually stronger as well, stimulant-wise. So, I don't know, even to this day, I struggle to drink Total War.
Just because it gives you the flashbacks.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Because, like, sure, they changed the ingredients on it, so, you know, like, DMAA isn't in there anymore, but the flavoring system is still similar. And there's just something about something about Total War flavors. Because when that first got banned, I remember I went to the local sub store, it was like 20, 30 minutes away, and they still had it in stock. And again, this is me like 16, 17. I bought like 8 tubs.
Yeah. Investment.
Every tub they had. And it lasted me years after that.
It'd be worth a fortune if you still had it.
I know, I should have just fucking kept that shit.
You should have.
Stupid ass. God damn it. Investment people. Mum and dad tell you not to waste your money, and dad was wasting money. Like, that's pretty much like buying Bitcoin and buying a pizza. God damn it. That's
Forget about crypto, just buy the old school Total War.
You know, if you can get your hands on like some original craze or some shit like that, or just 3D, auction that shit off. Mate. When it comes to bodybuilding itself, like, where did I guess that switch kind of flick? Because we had this little discussion before that we both have a very similar massive life regret.
Yeah.
Being in which that we both had the opportunity to meet Ronnie Coleman and we didn't.
Yeah.
Simply because at the time, and it shames me to say this, I didn't know who the hell Ronnie Coleman was.
Either did I.
Yeah, so it's a massive life regret of mine. However, where was that flick over point?
So my uncle actually competed as a bodybuilder.
Athlete genetics. That's where it is.
But I never saw, or I was too young to realize what a bodybuilder actually was. And when he would tell me, I'd sort of be like, oh, you stand in your undies with
I was going to say like that stereotypical,
how many other men and you're tan?
First impression of a bodybuilder.
So I had no idea what it was. And it wasn't until I first probably started getting into gym and actually realizing what gym is and all that. He was competing in powerlifting, and then later on in a few years, he became world's strongest man for his age.
Jesus.
Yeah. And then
we need to get him on the podcast. Jesus Christ.
And then I guess when you're growing up, you see like the old school Gymshark members and all them. You sort of like, oh, what do they do? And then I just sort of fell in love with the whole sport. Yeah.
Oh. And then what about the competing switch? Because again, it's I guess a very big difference between, you know, getting into the gym and then you start to fall in love with training and the nutrition side of it. And I guess there is still a distinction between when you go from this is a hobby that I enjoy versus this is a sport that I can actually recognize by seeing other people and respecting that.
Yep.
And then it's an even further step to be like, well, I'm going to do this.
Yeah. So I was with my old coach PT at the time, and I used to always speak to him saying, so he competed when I signed up to gym, and I said, you know, one day I want to compete. And he went, well, yeah, stick with me and I'll bring you to stage. And like he did. I'm not going to lie, he was very knowledgeable and helped me in so many ways. And it wasn't until probably season B last year I was going to compete. But yeah, so I started prep, and I was probably in prep for about 12 weeks. And then 8 weeks out, he messaged me saying, I don't feel too comfortable doing the diet and stuff. Should we bring another person on? And I said, yeah, if that's what you think. And then he gave me a heap of lists, and Tom's name was, I know it's a bit off subject, but Tom's name was there, and I went.
Tom is a great coach from everything that I've heard nothing but amazing reviews on him, and he's a fantastic person to have a chat with. So, mate, shout go for it, run for it.
So
Tom Sports Nutrition.
Yeah.
Check him out.
Tom
coach.
Fox,
Tom, awesome person. Go check him out.
Amazing person. No cheeky plugs here.
No.
So there was heaps of names, and I went through them all and sort of went through their Instagrams and all that, and I came down and went, I really like this Tom Fox guy, and my coach said, I know his work. I followed him for a little bit, so I went with him and started working with Tom, and then probably 6 weeks out or 8 weeks out, Tom messaged me a video, and as soon as I got the video, I sort of knew, because he'd never sent me a video before, I sort of knew something was up, and basically just said his opinion was for me to pull out from the comp, which I think I watched the video about 5 times just to make sure I was hearing what I heard right. And then I walked downstairs, and I think, I was meant to make my dinner for that night, measure all my meals out, but I didn't, and my partner was going, well, what are you doing? I went, I'm not competing anymore. And I nearly broke down in tears because I put so much effort into these 12 weeks that when I got to this point, it all just sort of felt like I wasted that.
Yeah.
But then I went to see Tom and all that, and he just said, I think you can be better than what you could have been. And I went, oh yeah, fair enough. Stuck with Tom, and then, so I'm with Tom full time now.
Yeah, I mean, you got to give it, it's hard to hear that, but at the same time, to I guess have someone who generally actually just gave a shit about how you were and what they actually thought in your ability to perform up on the stage. I don't know, I mean, there's probably a lot of coaches who wouldn't go out of their way to say, hey, you should stop this. You shouldn't do this. Because that, could leave a very, I guess, bad opinion on the athlete. They could get dropped for that. They could get a backlash for that. So it takes some balls to actually do that. And do you think that that was the right call?
100%. And to be fair, I was with Tom for probably 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So 4 weeks, this guy that I never met, it was all online. I never met him. No idea who he was, anything about him. And then for him to go, I don't think you're right for this comp. And for me to go, okay, if that's what you think, then I'm going to go with that. Yeah. Obviously, you two, because they were working together, so they were talking behind the scenes. And I just went, if that's what you two think, then you're the ones in charge. I'm just the test dummy.
It's a lot on yourself as well to actually accept that. That takes a fucking lot after putting yourself through 12 weeks of hell. You're ready for it. You think it's coming. And then just to be like, I'm going to actually listen to the advice of the people who are coaching me. I'm going to give them the trust, give them the faith, come out of it, and then re-prep, and then go through all of that again to, hopefully bring a better package to the stage. And again, I have no idea what you would have looked like on that first show, but you came in looking absolutely amazing.
I don't think I would have looked anything like the way I did.
Yeah. And to be honest, I'm cheekily, I'm a little bit happy that you didn't compete in that first show. Although I was there, popping off a few shots, I was not as involved nearly as what I am now, so I wouldn't have even met you.
Yeah, we wouldn't be here today.
Exactly. So I'm actually quite selfishly happy.
So am I.
Thank you, Tom.
Thanks, Tom. We can all thank Tom.
Exactly. Now that I've thanked Tom and that I've given him a bit of a pump up, I'm going to tear him down a little bit. Well, not tear him down, but what made you go with Tom? Because, and again, not to attack Tom in any way, because I love Tom. Yeah. But he doesn't, I guess, give off the vibes of a bodybuilding coach.
No, he doesn't.
But he's extremely knowledgeable in how to do it and how to prep someone.
Yeah.
What was it about him that actually attracted you towards him as a coach?
To be fair, so his profile picture is him, and he's got the biggest smile on his face. And I just looked at him and went, he just looks nice. He looks like a genuine person that cares about you.
Yeah, I have the same reaction when I see every time I see Tom's photo pop up, I'm just like, hey, it's like he's just fun. And then you meet him in person and he's doing the exact same thing.
He's the exact same as he online. Fun. Yeah. And as soon as I met him in person, I was just like, I definitely made the right choice. Yeah.
Do you have future plans of competing now, or how's before we even get to that, how was the reverse diet for yourself? Because I've spoken to a lot of people on the podcast. I'm thankfully actually good friends now with a lot of people who compete at season A. I know some people have had a fairly alright reverse. Some people have had a really rough reverse diet. and sort of coming back out of that comp mode. How has it been for yourself?
For me, it was pretty good. The hardest thing was switching off. So I've been so focused on something for 26 weeks or 28 weeks or however long it was. And as soon as the day was over, I was already chatting to Tom going, oh, when are we competing next? What are we doing next? Like, what's the next thing? And he just went, you need to calm down. Just enjoy what just happened. Think about what just happened. And then a few weeks later, we got into the reverse diet. And that went fine. I think the hardest thing was switching my focus from physical, the way I look, to sort of strength goals. So now I'm not so worried about, putting on, obviously I'm worried about putting on size, and that's the goal, but I'm not going, I need to look like this by this time.
Yeah, more just like trusting the process of
Yeah.
Hey, if the numbers are going up, then, there is development coming into that. Yeah, I can definitely understand that. And then when it comes to those future plans and goals?
So I want to be a pro. I want to get my pro card in either bodybuilding or classic physique. So I want to move out of the fitness and men's physique sort of thing. But
you do have a really, really classic physique.
Yeah, I think I do.
You
Yeah,
the poses really well. And when you come in with that mustache, I mean, we all know exactly what's going on there. So I would love to see you competing on that kind of level.
Yeah, obviously goals are big. Goals should be scary for me. I think for everyone, goals should be scary. So my biggest goal would be to be the best classic physique natural athlete in the world or in Australia. I don't know how realistic that is, but I'm going to try my hardest to get as close as I can to that. But obviously that's years down the road. So yeah, for now.
So some goals don't need to be hit overnight.
Yeah.
And at least identifying that, hey, that's the direction you want to go.
Yeah.
It means that every time you go into a session, you know what it's for.
Yeah,
that goal
that's
in mind.
exactly right.
Every time you go to prep food, you know what that goal is. You have it in mind.
Yeah, it's always at the back of my head going, one day, maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next year, maybe not 5 years, but one day, hopefully I'll be called the best bodybuilder or best classic physique person.
Do you know what it is that gives you that drive towards that goal?
I don't know, to be honest. I've got sort of people that I look up to, like obviously C-Bum and although Ronnie Coleman. There's a few smaller names out there that I look up to, and they've sort of gone, if your goals aren't scary, what's the point of a goal? So
yeah. At the end of the day, if it's like if your goals are too small and too achievable, then really it's a little ego stroke, aren't they?
Yeah.
Just to make you feel good for a second.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, I did something today.
Like I've got short-term goals, like obviously next time I compete, I want to get a pro card. So that's this short-term goal. And then once I win the pro card, I want to win like a pro show.
Yep.
And then obviously it's not just jump from here to the best bodybuilder in the world. There's obviously a map and different stops at each place.
Definitely. Have you given any thought to how long, I guess, this off-season or this building phase is going to be before you sort of look at considering that next time stepping up on stage?
At the moment, I'm not in a rush. Like I'd love to get back on stage tomorrow, but I'm not in a rush because I don't feel like that I'm ready to get back on stage. Because next time I want to bring the ultimate package. I want to step on stage and go, yep, he's won. Who's second?
Yeah. So I guess like the main reason for asking that, because I guess there was two ways that people approach it. Really is like, you set the goal out, like you set the goal date or year out, XYZ amount of time. So that way it's like, all right, now I have a deadline. Let's put the work in. Let's get it done. Like, let's get it done by this point. Or you've got the other approach, which is to enjoy it, chill for a bit, and then when you feel like it's ready, that's when you set the goal. So I guess I was just trying to see what path.
So I'm sort of just gonna wait. So probably like realistically, the off season will probably be 3 or 4 years.
Yep.
But I'm in no rush to get on stage before that. Even though I'd love to, I'm in no rush to. I just feel as though at the moment, I don't have a competitive package to bring onto stage and have a good physique for classic or bodybuilding. But hopefully in the next few years I will.
Yep.
So obviously I'm going to build up a frame and build up a physique that hopefully is good.
Yeah, nice. I love how my notifications are just going off their nut right now. That's my calendar saying that I was meant to have filmed this earlier on today. And they're like, hey, you have stuff to edit. Go do it. Go do it. I'm like, no, leave me alone. Bad Google. Get the hell out of here. When it comes to I guess this is just a dynamic that I'm interested in. You know, you went through prep with, you know, like a family in place, with a partner in place. How did you find, you know, like how did relationships go? How was that aspect of things?
Obviously, the way I saw it is different to the way everyone else saw it. Because at the end of the day, I'm putting this all on myself. So I had to keep remembering myself when I wasn't speaking, I wasn't in a happy mood as such, that this is me picking to do this sport, not someone forcing me to do it. Mm-hmm. So during prep, I did lean on my girlfriend a lot and Tom. Not a lot of other people knew what I was going through besides them too. And it wasn't until probably 12 weeks out that I opened up to Tom about all the struggles that I was doing. But yeah, so it's difficult because I'd come home from work tired, go to gym, do my session, come home, cook my meals, but I wouldn't speak to anyone. Mm-hmm. So my girlfriend thought that I hated everyone. And I was just like, it's going to sound crazy. And she goes, just explain it. So I was like, it's too much effort for me to talk. It's too much energy. And she goes, that doesn't sound crazy.
Yeah.
So she was pretty good because she looked into it. So she sort of knew what to expect. And then as prep got harder and deeper, she started coming to my check-ins.
Nice, man.
So she could understand what me and Tom were talking about to then go, oh, okay, he's not angry. He's just got no energy.
Yeah, it's just
which is true. Like, yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Like it was very difficult. I don't think I've ever done something so difficult in my life.
What was the hardest point?
The hardest point I was probably 8 weeks out. And 8 weeks out when you're a natural bodybuilder is you're not shredded, you're small, but you're not shredded. So you just look like you've never stood foot in the gym. And Tom could sort of tell when I was not doing well because I wouldn't talk to him because I'll talk to him nearly every day. And the days that I didn't talk to him, so he'd message me going, how are you going? I went, honestly, man, not great. So he's like, all right, where are you? I said, I'm at gym. He goes, I'm going to call you. So he called me and he went, what's up? So I told him all the stuff that was wrong. And he just went, okay, that phase is over. You get half a kilo of potatoes tonight. And I went, oh, sweet. And then had the potatoes and had the food and stuff. And then I was fine the next day. So it was just that phase. It was a 4-week phase where we just tried to burn as much fat as we could and just cut calories each week until I couldn't do anything.
Damn.
And I just went, oh.
Man, but that's awesome. Just the simple fact that you had someone who, you know, you could actually turn to and be real about it. And, you know, have that open communication, conversation with. Like, damn, that's dope.
Yeah. It was quite good when I did open up because I find it quite hard to open up. But when I did, it was good because everyone sort of knew what was happening around me, not just making assumptions going, oh, he's not doing well when I was doing well. And when I wasn't, they were just going, oh, he's just normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have anything, I guess, like you know, those diet hacks or the things that you did outside of almost giving yourself a heart attack with caffeine?
So with work, I'd try to push my meals back as late as I could because I'd train in the afternoon.
Yep.
So I wasn't having my first meal till probably like 10:30, 11:30. And that was a breakfast and that was just oats and water. Yep. But it tasted so good. So good. Yeah. And then I guess, spreading my meals out to where I ate to the point where I was really hungry and started to feel like real weak. And then I'd start to eat, which probably isn't good. Mm-hmm. Drinking a heap of water to fill me up. Yep. And then obviously sugar-free soft drinks. Yeah. I sort of loved them.
Yeah. That's a good way to go about doing it.
It is. Tom wasn't happy about it, but why is that? Just because I was having a few too many and then...
What was the sugar-free drink you were drinking?
Sugar-free lemonade.
Okay, I was going to say, if this is like Diet Pepsi or some shit,
nah.
Now we're just adding in more and more unaccounted for stimulants, and this total is growing up. Now we're at 1,300, now we're at 1,400. Jesus Christ, how did this man not die?
No, it was sugar-free lemonade.
Yeah. And I do rate the sugar-free lemonade.
Yeah, and I still drink it.
When you're on a rooftop, you know, it's like nice and cold.
Yeah.
Like, I think the two best contenders there, sugar-free lemonade and sugar-free Fanta.
Yeah.
Like, sugar-free Fanta, or like, you know, orange stuff in general.
It's good.
It's fantastic on a hot day, especially on a roof. Like when I was doing roof tiling, give me a sugar-free like orange Monster.
They're pretty good. And then so Tom ended up basically saying you can have 1 can or one glass of the sugar-free drink. So I swapped that with soda water.
Yep.
And then I'd just have soda water. The bubbles filled me up, and it felt like I was having a little treat.
Does a really good job of that.
Yeah. And after I felt that, I wasn't as hungry because obviously the sugar-free stuff's got stuff to make you hungry.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Now, I do have to actually do a completely 180 on the topics here. Just completely throw it left field out of nowhere. But I actually have to say, in a sense, a few actual thank yous to you, my guy. You know, it's kind of odd. We were talking about this earlier about, you know, just sort of how things have been going, you know, lately, how the podcast has been going and all that sort of jazz. And realistically, it's like you were the first person.
Oh, not me.
Like you were like the first person ever to, like, I don't know, like just from day one, like you've been listening to the podcast, checking in on what's going on.
Yeah. I think when we had our photo shoot, we were talking about it.
Yeah.
And it was going, oh, I'm thinking about doing a podcast. I went, oh man, I fucking love podcasts. Like they're good to listen to.
Legitimately, it was one of the things that pushed me over the line.
Yeah.
But even going back then further to that actual photo shoot, you know, I was getting out of, I'd got out of photography completely.
Yeah.
I'd kind of cast it away. I was switching over to doing primarily video just because, I don't know, I feel like I have a good skill set when it comes to video and editing and I really enjoy it. So I pretty much just cast out photography as, hey, that was a phase. We're done with that. And then out of nowhere, you hit me up and you're like, hey, you want to do a photo shoot?
Well, we can thank Tom for that because he gave me your details.
Really?
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
All right, Tom, you're back in the good books. Go check out Tom. He's a fantastic bloke. Yep, awesome. But yeah, it really did take me by surprise, actually, when you got in touch. I wasn't expecting that at all.
Well, we actually met backstage at Sunny Coast.
Yeah.
We did an interview.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Met backstage at Sunny Coast and we chatted a little bit on socials and then met you at the front of registrations on...
Yeah, the day before.
Yeah, the day before when I was there to do some like setup and scouting and stuff.
Yeah.
And then you featured very heavily in every bit of content that's gone up recently just because every time I saw you up on stage, I was like, shoot, him.
Yeah.
And a lot of the backstage stuff as well.
Yeah.
There's that one shot of you that I just can't stop using. Pretty much that little ab flex on the you with the cheeky little smirk. But yeah, I don't know. It was just there was something about it when you sent me that message, and I don't know. I was just like, fuck it.
Because I think you mentioned that when I messaged you, like the next day or a few days later, you spent like $2,500 on gear or something crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, it was an extra, well, like to shoot that shoot, I think was around $1,900. But it gave a real kick, like just a real kickback for why
set the fire back
exactly
up.
Like for why I actually got into cameras to start with. And it really just made me sort of fall in love with it again. You know, and now we've done a few more photo shoots with people going forward from there. We've already had more inquiries coming in for season B as well now. And it's one of those situations where I'm like, hell, I think I'm going to just get even more lighting gear so I can go to doing full studio setups again. Because when I first moved up to Queensland, you know, the goal was I want to be a photographer. It was like I want to create content. I want to try and do that. I moved up here for an internship that I landed with a photography studio because I didn't know anything about lighting at the time. And on those sets, we were using sort of 4, 5, 6 lighting setups, and I got used to how to set them up, how to use them, and just how to get really damn cool shots with them. So what we were doing was like a 2-point lighting setup, and now that I've done a few more, it's just that little itch. I'm like, ooh, I remember what I could do if I had a third. I remember what I could do if I had a fourth.
Soon you'll have 6.
I remember what I could do if I did have 5 or 6 of them. And I'm really excited to actually start shooting them again, to be honest with you. I love video work. Love it to the nth degree. But there's just something very different about doing video and doing photo.
You get to meet all these new people and...
I don't know. They're a lot less. I think photo shoots are a lot less stressful. They're a lot cruisier. You don't have to, say when you're doing a video, it's like you have to be sort of locked in for that whole time. Going, you need to know what your shots are. You need to get them done. And there's just a lot more mental effort that goes into it. Say we had a shoot the other week where they were doing three sets per exercise, and I had to shoot across 2 different cameras in 3 different formats.
Yeah.
So every single set had to be the perfect set.
Yeah.
And of course, you're still taking breaks between them where you can, you're on for a few minutes and then you're off, and then you chill out and you have a bit of a laugh, and then you're on, and then you're off, and then you're on, and then you're off. With photos, I don't know, I feel like because you can just take a little bit more time between each shot, you can have a bit more of a laugh.
Yeah.
You're doing, I guess, more standard poses rather than active movements and things like that. Even when you are doing moving shots, you're still getting, like, I guess, like a slower rep or a bit of a pause in there and that kind of stuff. And even being able to, like, preview the photos, like, say, on actual site and get a bit more of a feel for how they're actually going to look. I don't know. There's just something really cool about it. So I got to say a massive thank you to you.
Thank you.
For actually giving me that kickstart to get back into photography and really sort of fall in love with it again. Thanks, man.
Thank you. No, thank you.
And yeah, with the podcast, like, why the fuck did you even listen? Why did you get into listening to the podcast?
To this podcast?
Yeah.
I think it's just because I knew you.
Nice.
So I sort of listened to it. Like, I listened to it on the way home and when I was doing cardio and stuff at gym.
What's been your favorite episode so far?
Probably the one you did with the one at Mount Gravatt. The physio. I forget his name.
Yeah, Fraser.
Yeah.
Fraser, who we actually saw today while we were out. And me being a dumbass, I completely forgot to actually just introduce you to Fraser. My bad for that one.
That's all right.
Yeah, I really like that conversation. Just because, again, like we're on, I guess, like, we've had very similar vibes in a sense, which was really cool to find out. Yeah. And it was just like clicking on a lot of levels.
Yeah.
Clicking on a level,
I think the conversations were just great. The topics were fantastic. I think you should do more with Fraser.
More with Fraser. Hey, I'm sure there's going to be a few more lined up in the works with those guys. Which actually seems like a really good time to segue into the sponsored section of this video. Because we are actually partnered up with the Body Collective, which is, the brand that Fraser does own and operate, which is a physiotherapy group currently working out of Mount Gravatt. And he's an awesome guy. You've listened to the conversation.
Yeah, he sounds like a top bloke. Yeah.
Backstory as well. Him and his partner Mon are really big into the competitive scene, into the fitness scene. Yeah. And a massive importance that I think gets overlooked by a lot of people, myself included, is actually that recovery, that looking after yourself.
100%.
And I know that when I first got into it, and it was just, let's move heavy weight, let's train 3 hours a day every single day, and a lot of injuries came up that sort of weren't addressed at the time, and they just became worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, they just follow along.
Exactly. So it is fantastic, to be able to partner up with a brand who is so involved in the sport and also who just cares so much about trying to get athletes in the best condition possible. Yeah. So that when they show up on show day, they do, perform the best way they can.
And a lot of people don't understand a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
Like, they don't understand that when they're in a contest prep, they don't work the same as a normal person because they're so depleted. So, yeah.
Yeah, like, I mean, I'd had a lot of, physios over the past, remedial massage over the past, trying to fix up little issues here and there. And I don't know, I just feel like the first session that I had with him was the first time where I'd actually gone in and then come out and I could trust the person.
Yeah.
I trust that they knew what they were doing. I trust that they knew what was actually up with my body, that they actually cared about what they were doing. It was just an experience that I hadn't really had before.
Yeah, and they work with some top athletes, IFBB pros.
Yeah. Like I said, very well involved in the sport. And they love it. I remember the first time I ever met them, it was actually at a friend's birthday. Well, actually, I didn't even meet them at the time. The first time I'd ever seen them anywhere. It was at a friend's birthday. I'm just chatting to someone and they're over in the corner watching the shows. Oh. Yeah, like this on their phones.
They just genuinely love it.
Just watching pro shows. And I'm like, damn, that's cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah. In, I guess, collaboration with us and the Body Collective, they would like to offer you a free session to go in and get checked out, see if there is any little issues that maybe you've had or just things that you want to get worked on, and try and get you on that path to being, more recovered, being healthier overall, and, being the best athlete that you can possibly be.
Thank you.
Yeah. In saying that, man, is there anything else that you particularly want to cover? Are there any questions that you have for me as a listener? Are there any things that you want to see in the podcast that you think that could be useful?
Q&As in the podcast would be pretty cool. Q&As. I know we talked about this the other day.
People, submit your questions, because if you do, we'd love to have a chat about them. both with the guests that we do have on, as well as another thing that Connor was, I guess, putting forward would be if you guys are interested in some solo podcasts. So if you have any questions relating around fitness and training, relating around cameras and filming, relating around editing, relating around anything really, and you would like to hear some solo podcasts, get in touch, let us know. If we put it up on our story at some point, reply in there. I'd be more than happy to, because I don't know, there's just something about doing these that is just really fun.
Yeah, I've enjoyed the day.
Yeah, so we talked a little bit about, like, I guess how much goes, like, the time that goes into not only the filming but also the editing side of it.
Yeah,
and it's like it is a mission and a half.
Yeah,
especially when you're trying to get an episode up every week. Like that might seem like a slow release schedule, but when you're trying to do that on top of everything else, it's a freaking lot.
It's a big.
But there's something about it that's just
it's fun.
It's fun.
Yeah,
you get to meet some really cool people. You get to have some really cool conversations. Like, I mean, shit, I would have never known that you were a footballer.
Yeah.
At a high level. I don't know what the fuck that accent was. But yeah, is there anything else that you think could be useful?
I know we were talking about it earlier, editing gym photos.
Yeah, like a little tutorial on how to sort of edit gym photos and that kind of stuff. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm primarily on desktop when it comes to editing. I know the settings do carry over fairly well. So maybe I'll install Lightroom on my phone and have a little play around with it and see how it comes up. But yeah, maybe, again, I don't know. I think it's reasonably simple to do. So maybe that's a good thing, because it's it's a pretty simple thing to show someone. So maybe that's a good point. Maybe I'll start working on them for you. Yeah. And then I'll just send them to you and you're like, hey, are these good? Yep, awesome. Done.
Post them. Tag me.
Good. Done. Well, thank you for having me. Thank you for everything, and thank you for coming on the show, man. It's been a pleasure to have a bit of a chat with you, to get to know you a little bit more. It was a great session today.
Yeah, it was.
So, no, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
But thank you, all of you people as well. Beautiful ones behind the screen, behind the microphone, all this kind of jazz. If you have enjoyed the show, and if you have any questions whatsoever for our team or for Connor, feel free to leave them down in the comments below, or to get in touch directly with us. We'd be more than happy to answer them. If you've heard anything in here that you think would be useful for anyone else, please do feel free to share it with them. At the end of the day, that's the best way to help these podcasts grow. And realistically, we just want to try and, have a chat to as many people as possible. Hey, hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did find something useful, please do share it with someone else you think could find it useful as well. If you're over on Spotify, please do leave a review as well. If you're over on YouTube, consider dropping a subscribe, a like, a comment, and all that good stuff. Thanks for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day.